Hey everybody, it's Bruce here with Traveling with Bruce. I have cruise ship and cruise line updates, all kinds of things going on all over the planet. Thank you, by the way, for subscribing to my channel, Traveling with Bruce. Those of you giving my videos thumbs ups, man, do I appreciate those, and love to hear from you with your comments and letting me know what you're hearing is going on in your world. I appreciate all the news tips and everything else. Very much appreciated. By the way, we have a Facebook group page called Traveling with Bruce. A lot of you are joining that and hang out. We do hang out there between videos. And also, a number of you are following our Instagram page. Come on over. Jennifer is handling that. We're having a lot of fun. Folks, I have 5 stories for you right now that are taking place simultaneously, and I'm just going to try to get at them as best I can. So here is story number 1. It's all about Norwegian. The ship is called the Norwegian Jewel, and it's kind of been below the radar a little bit because, of course, there's so much to be following out there and so much going on. But in a nutshell, here is the story about the Norwegian Jewel. This ship left Sydney, Australia on February 28th. And it was supposed to take a 3-week cruise. There are no ill passengers on this ship. Everyone is fine. The ship can handle up to 2,500 passengers plus crew. Anyway, the voyage set out, and then of course the world, changed, and the ship was denied visitation rights and docking rights in New Zealand, one of the countries that have basically shut itself off to cruise lines. And then they proceeded to head for Fiji, where they were given permission. Yes, you can come to Fiji. You have no one on board that's ill, all is well. Then a day before the ship got to Fiji, the Fijians said, nope, sorry, we've changed our mind. We're not letting any cruise ships come in here. So now the ship is in the middle of the Pacific Ocean, with nowhere to go. It crossed the international date line a couple of times. Apparently now it is heading to American Samoa, where it's going to be allowed to refuel, get some supplies, and continue on. But no passengers can get off the ship at all. The story now is that the ship has been granted permission to end its journey in Hawaii. And the hope is that the USA and Hawaii will not change its mind and will honor this commitment, so that after 35 days at sea, which is 5 weeks, this 3-week cruise will end at the 5-week mark. Now, one of the stories that's coming out is really disturbing. The Australian media is all over this story because the ship is loaded with a bunch of Australians, and that's the shame of it. I don't know why they can't go back to Australia. They're just maybe too far out. I don't understand it. Very confusing. But here's a story that's going on as part of this thing. One of the passengers on board is a woman that is taking medication for a thyroid condition, and she brought enough meds for her 3-week cruise, probably 4 weeks worth of meds, but she's going to run out, and she went to the medical facility on board the ship to talk to the folks there about a supply of medication. And get this, this is what really bugs me. The on-ship doctor informed her that in order for her to get any medication from the ship, she had to pay a $150 doctor's consultation fee and then $9 a pill after that. I don't know how many pills she takes a day, but it just drives me nuts when I hear stuff like this, especially at this moment in time with what's happening out there. It is not her fault that she cannot go ashore to refill her prescription. She can get her prescription filled anywhere, but she can't get off the ship. The cruise line knows she can't get off the ship, and yet the doctor is pulling stunts like this. It just goes to show, to me, what's happening here and what's been happening too much is cruise lines are operating their medical facilities as a profit facility rather than a medical facility. And this is just this is a low blow. And again, I have mentioned so many times that cruise lines should really offer insurance as part of their fare. Medical insurance, evac insurance for medical reasons, and interruption insurance. It's part of the fare for everybody. It would be so cheap if 2,500 people each had a insurance policy. Then this would be covered. She might only have to pay a $10 deductible or $25 deductible. The rest would be covered. And then the cruise line can fight with the insurance company for this money. I just... $150 consultation fee in the middle of the Pacific Ocean where the doctor knows he's got her. She can't go anywhere else. She's running out of the medication. She has to have it. And the ship won't touch land for a total of 35 days. It just defies humanity. And it's one of the things that personally drives me crazy. By the way, this video is my personal opinion, okay? I'm not speaking on behalf of passengers, cruise lines, or anybody else. This is just Bruce here at TWB, a little upset. All right, that's story number one. All right, story number two has to do with the Royal Caribbean ship, the Grandeur of the Seas. The Grandeur of the Seas is the oldest ship in the Royal Caribbean fleet. It is much beloved. There are a lot of fans of this cruise ship. And unfortunately, they are sitting right now on the norovirus. That is the bathroom virus that pops up from time to time, and unfortunately 83 passengers and 6 crew have contracted the norovirus, and the ship is steaming her way back to Baltimore right now. Even though Baltimore's port is closed, this ship left Baltimore for her itinerary and is allowed to return to Baltimore. There are 1,764 passengers on board, 798 crew. And now 89 people are affected. The buffets are being handled by the crew. You can't serve yourself. They've put in enhanced cleaning procedures and all kinds of other sanitary effects are in place here. They're attempting to minimize the increase of this virus between now and when they get back. They should be back in 2 days, March the 19th. This is the 17th of March 2020. They should be back in 2 days. When they return to Baltimore, the cruise line has arranged that passengers will be disembarked in what's known as a staged process. So instead of a whole bunch of people lined up together like a herd of sheep, what they're going to do is they're going to have probably 20 or 25 people at a time gather in certain spots and then disembark them, rather than have groups of 50 or 100 or 200, because they're trying to adhere to the national rules now in the U.S. As well. All right, so that's story number two, Grandeur of the Seas, norovirus. No one else is ill on that ship. Everyone else is fine. Story number three, when will cruise lines come back and start sailing again? I get so many people asking me this question, and I have a list of cruise lines for you. I'm going to read them off in alphabetical order. I'm going to tell you the dates that they think they're going to be sailing again, but this is March 17th, and I can't guarantee any of these dates are going to work, but this is what cruise lines would like to have happen. Okay, here we go. The first one on the list, starting with the letter A, is Azamara. They're hoping to resail starting April the 11th. Today is the 17th of March, so add 14 days to the end of the month, plus 11. That's 25 days from now. Second cruise line, Bahamas Paradise Cruise Line. That's the cruise line with 2 ships, and they go between Florida and the Bahamas. April the 9th, they're hoping to be back in business. Carnival Cruise Line is expecting to get their brand back up on April 10th. Celebrity Cruises, April the 11th. Cunard Cruise Line, owned by Carnival, April 11th. By the way, Celebrity is owned by Royal Caribbean. Disney Cruise Line, April 13th. Holland America, owned by Carnival, April 15th. MSC Cruises, the private company from Switzerland with a whole bunch of ships in Europe, they're hoping to be back in business April 30th. Norwegian Cruise Line, April the 11th is their bet. Oceania, April 11th, owned by Norwegian. Princess Cruises, May the 10th. That's the much maligned cruise line, owned by Carnival, May 10th. Regent Seven Seas Cruises, owned by Norwegian, April 11th. Royal Caribbean, April 11th. Viking for ocean and river cruising, May the 1st. And finally, Virgin Voyages. They are hoping to start their first ever cruise on August the 7th, they want to have opening ceremonies around July 15th and 20th up until August 7th, and then start cruising August the 7th. Of all of these cruise lines, I would say a Princess with May the 10th, Viking with May the 1st, and Virgin August the 7th are probably the most realistic to more than likely make it. The others who all want to start cruising in early to mid-April, your guess is as good as mine, folks. I don't know if they're going to make it with what we're seeing going on. But you know what? Let's hope for the best, and let's hope that this happens and we can get back to business. Now, cruise lines expecting to go to Alaska or into New England towards Canada, they're not going to start cruising those itineraries until after July 1, because Canada won't open a single port for a cruise ship with 500 people or more until July 1st. So that area is cut off. So there'll be no Alaska cruises in April, May, June, unless a ship leaves Seattle on June, say the 28th, and goes all the way up to Anchorage and then stops in Vancouver on July 3rd. But if Vancouver isn't open on July 3rd, they've got a big problem under the Jones Act. Anyway, we'll keep on top of that. Now, story number 4. The big 3 cruise lines have stepped up to ensure their survival. People are asking me, viewers are asking me questions like, will the cruise line survive this? And the answer is yes, they're going to survive this. They're going to survive for another year because they've all tapped emergency credit lines that has been made available to them years and years and years ago. For example, it's been reported now that Norwegian has tapped its credit line for $1.5 billion. They've grabbed $675 million in a short-term loan that is not due until March 2021, and they pulled $875 million in cash they don't have to repay until January 2024. That $1.5 billion is in the company's bank account as cash, and that will more than carry Norwegian easily to the end of this year or beyond if they needed to. So they'll be fine. If they're back in business in April or in May or in June, they won't even use a third of this money, but there's tons of cash at Norwegian. Carnival, they borrowed $3 billion yesterday. They pulled $3 billion in financing. And they are predicting a loss for the calendar year 2020, and they have enough cash for themselves and all of their cruise lines, of which they own like a total of 9 different brands. They're good to go. Royal Caribbean, they pulled $550 million as a cash line last week already, and they've announced $1.7 billion of reductions in cash expenditures. So they've probably suspended their stock buyback. They're probably going to cut their dividend to 0. They're delaying, probably going to delay some dry dock work. They might delay taking delivery of a ship. There's all kinds of tricks that Royal Caribbean can do to reduce their cash outflow. Anyway, $2.25 billion for Royal Caribbean will be cash on hand in their pockets because they're just not going to let cash out of the bank account that's already sitting there. That's story number 4. Number 5 is people are asking me, Bruce, there's a cruise ship out there where people live on it full time. It's like their home. Isn't it called the World? Yes, it's called the World, Residence at Sea. This ship circles the globe, I think, every 2 years. They have 150 families that own cabins and suites on board the ship. And the ship right now is in Perth, Australia. And we just heard this morning that they have decided to get off the ship, suspend sailings on her for now, and between 150 and 200 passengers have disembarked the ship. Crew have also disembarked. Minimum crew or minimal crew is being kept on board to just keep all the systems running and make sure everything stays in place and for security and so on. But they have decided to stay off the ship from today, March 17th, until May the 30th. So after May the 30th, excuse me, the hope is that the ship will be back up and running and the folks on the World can re-embark. Now, People might ask, well, what's going to happen to these people? Where are they going to live? Well, these folks have other homes. If you can afford to live year-round on a cruise ship like this, you likely have a residence somewhere else. I doubt there's anyone on the ship that has nowhere to go. So at the moment, my hunch is that these folks are staying in Australia, and they'll likely enjoy an extended holiday in Australia. But others may decide to fly elsewhere and either return to their homes, whatever home country it is, or visit other spots. But these folks have quite a bit of capital at their disposal to enjoy life and do something else. So that's the story about the ship known as the World Residence at Sea. All right, there you go. Those are 5 stories that I've been following here today, starting with the Norwegian Jewel, the Grandeur of the Seas, when will cruise lines start sailing, how much capital these companies are tapping to stay in business, and the World Residence at Sea. We'll stay on top of developing news all day, all week. Thank you for joining me today and subscribing to my channel, giving my videos thumbs up. So I really appreciate it. Of course, your comments, Facebook group page followers, just ask to join. I'm the administrator. I'll let you in. And also those of you joining us on Instagram. Okay, this is Bruce saying stay warm, stay safe, stay healthy, and we'll talk to you later. Bye for now.